Okay, this is gonna be fun. All right, welcome back Airbnb family. So if we have any audio issues, just send me a text message. This is of course us attempting to do better at live stream. I wanted to squarely address a couple of concerns / objections that I hear in the space constantly. We've actually got a couple popular videos right now. One is somewhere over 400,000 views right now about how I've built this business.
Of the people that I help do not
pardon me.
Real estate
You know, this Brian Page ad shows up everywhere, and I'm trying to watch my own live stream with you guys, and this Brian Page ad pops up. You know, he doesn't make that much money. I think he brags he makes like $300,000 a year on his like portfolio, and he's selling a course. But anyway, let's move on from that, because yes, our portfolio makes more than $2 million a year, and I've done this through rentals, and a lot of people are like, well, subletting is illegal. One, or that landlords won't allow it. Two. Those are the main 2 points that I think we need to squarely address here. And hey, good morning everybody. Okay, cool. Looks like we're doing good on audio. So the first one, that subletting is illegal. We just need to address that because it's very simply false. Let me teach you some fun stuff about subletting. So the lease that you typically tend to see with most landlords, it says no subletting in the lease. That is true, but that does not make something illegal. It's just against that specific contract. See, city to city and state to state, whether or not you can allow somebody to live in your home varies. The act of subletting in itself isn't illegal. I can't think of any city where if you are the renter, by putting another renter under there paying you, I don't know where they're gonna haul you off to jail or give you a $20,000 fine. It may be in big cities like LA or New York, correct me if I'm wrong, but subletting in itself, typically city to city or state to state, is not what is illegal. Now there are a small percentage of cities, let me just check. Yes, okay, cool. There are a small percentage of cities, like under 10%, that regulate Airbnb in a negative way, right? And so there are places where you have to have permits, or you have to be the homeowner, and then you can Airbnb only a certain number of months out of the year. In New York, you have to live in the home at the same exact time that somebody else is staying as an Airbnb guest. There's rules like that. And the only time that I've read about that an Airbnb host has gone to jail for the act of doing Airbnb, there's a guy in Nashville, and I'm talking just in the United States here. There's a guy in Nashville, he was hosting without a registration, without permit in Nashville. He got a fine, and then he continued to do it without getting his permit, so they put him in jail for a day. That's as bad as I've ever seen it get as far as the whole subletting or Airbnb is illegal. So subletting is against a contract, but you know what's great about that? It's a contract, and contracts are subject to negotiation, because what a contract is an agreement between two parties. So if your landlord would allow you to sublet, then it's no longer against your contract, and 92% of the time, the city that you're planning on doing this in, doing Airbnb isn't illegal, okay? So now, as long as you can make that negotiation with the landlord. So let's ask, why would a landlord ever let you do this, right? Because another main section of comments that I see is that a landlord would never allow this. Who could be that stupid, right? Is what I hear people or read people say. And it's actually much more simple than you think. See, landlords are used to making money a very specific way. They put the property up on, on Craigslist, or they put a yard sign out, and they try to get a tenant, and the tenant stays months and months and months at a time. And landlords, they get kind of fed up too, right? Landlording is not the most awesome thing in the world. I know people who hate the fact that they own property and they hate being a landlord. So in these specific situations, if you approach the landlord and said, hey, I would like to manage your property. I would like to be the point of contact with all future tenants in this building. I would like to make your life easier by running this building XYZ. And then I'll handle the maintenance. I'll do all this extra stuff. You're just going to get a check from me, and you'll deal with me and me alone, and I'm going to make this property run. You're essentially removing him from the hardship of landlordship. Also, since you're a business, an enterprise that is making profit off of his property, your rate of default is much, much lower than a regular tenant. And I can tell you the one thing I hate most about long-term tenants is having to evict them. I've had to do it multiple times. So if you're going to negotiate with a landlord, you need to understand that they have pain too. They have things that they wish that they could do, and landlording is not allowing them to do all the things that they wish that they could do, because they find out it's more than that they've signed up for. And additionally, landlords, again, about the whole default eviction thing, landlords need to have their places full in order for them to make money. A lot of these buildings that I negotiate with, they're new builds, right? They're lease ups, and they have a bank note that they've got to pay. And if they're not 50, 70% occupied or something more than that, they will be losing money on their building and they won't be able to afford their building anymore. They'll have to give their 100-door unit back, 100-door property back to the bank, and they don't want that. So you can present yourself as a solution to financial duress, or you can present yourself as a solution to having to deal with tenants that they don't want to deal with anymore. Those are two main ways that landlords will actually tell you yes to subletting your property, because nobody wants to deal with it. And another cool fact is, if you're an LLC, like the way that I do it and the way that we've talked about for 16 hours of content on this channel, if you're an LLC, it's technically not subletting. The reason why is because a company is not the person who's going to be residing in that property. A company like Shell Corporation doesn't lay their head down on a bed. But what they do is they declare an occupant. So as an LLC, you can sign a lease, declare your occupant, even if that occupant is only going to be declared for a few days, and then when you get a new occupant, you can declare them. And that's kind of a little workaround in subletting law. So technically it's not subletting. So if you ever find a state or city that's like no subletting, do it as an LLC. If you have a landlord that says no subletting, negotiate. And that's it. And if you want to negotiate and get a yes, pay attention to their needs. You can't just go walking around neighborhood to neighborhood with your hand out going, hey, I'd like to Airbnb your property. Please give me your property for Airbnb. If you put it like that, likely you're going to get no's, because now it's about you. It's not about them. Solve the landlord's problem and they will give you their property. Capiche? So if you have any other questions about Airbnb rental arbitrage, this is the channel for you. Watch all of our content, and of course, after you've exhausted yourself on our content, if you have questions, leave it in the comments. I'm glad to help. I'm here for you. So, thank you for watching Airbnb Automated. Thank you for watching a live stream, and I'll see you on the other side.